Ladies and gentlemen, there is a secret the most powerful people of history understood well, the secret of silence and self-focus. While the world screams for attention, the wise retreat into the fortress of their own purpose, and it is there, in the quiet, that the seeds of greatness take root. When you focus on yourself, truly focus not with fleeting interest but with definiteness of purpose, you summon forces within you that have been asleep for far too long. You begin to direct your thoughts with intention, and thought, my friends, is the origin of all achievement. But thought alone is not enough. Self-mastery is required. You must rule your emotions, command your impulses, and discipline your time. This is the labor of inner leadership. And the first rule of leadership, you don't speak of every move you make. Silence is power. It guards your vision from those who would not understand it, and it protects your energy from being siphoned by doubt. When you stay silent, you are not retreating, you are building, you are storing momentum. You are planting roots that will later grow into mighty branches. The world will ask you to explain. Let them wonder. The critic will ask you to justify. Let them talk. Every second spent defending your journey is time stolen from building your dream. Instead, use that time to repeat, to reinforce, and to believe. Speak to yourself. Fill your mind with autosuggestion, with visions of victory, with affirmations of strength, with certainty that you are becoming what you intend to be. And understand this, when you stay true to yourself in silence, you are not alone. There are unseen forces, call it law, call it nature, call it spirit, that begin to align with your frequency. The cosmic habit force goes to work. It arranges circumstances, moves people, and opens paths that were invisible to the noisy, the distracted, and the unfocused. So I say to you, turn your energy inward. Starve the need to prove. Water the garden within. Focus. Persist. Stay silent, because when you do, everything begins to fall into place. There is a power that stirs the soul of every man and woman who has ever achieved greatness. It is not talent alone, nor is it luck. It is the ability to decide, truly decide, what one wants from life and to direct every ounce of thought, time, and energy toward that single aim. When you focus on yourself, the first principle you must embrace is the establishment of a definite purpose. Without it, you are as a ship without a compass, drifting at the mercy of tides and winds you do not control. But with it, you become the captain of your fate, commanding the course of your destiny with the quiet authority of one who knows where he is going. The mind cannot create results out of confusion. It needs clarity like the lungs need air. And clarity does not come from scattered thinking or divided ambition. It comes from choosing one purpose, one aim, and holding to it with unwavering belief. Too many people try to chase too many things at once. They want wealth, but they also seek comfort. They desire progress, but cling to the familiar. They say they want change, yet fear what change requires. The result is internal conflict, and conflict destroys momentum. When you resolve, once and for all, what you will dedicate your life to, the conflict ceases. There is only movement forward. The mind, once given a definite purpose, begins to operate in a new way. It filters out distractions, attracts ideas and opportunities, and aligns thoughts with action. Your energy becomes concentrated, and that concentration gives birth to power. It is not by accident that the most successful people speak with certainty and act with confidence. They are not guessing at what they want. They have made a decision and burned the bridges behind them. They do not look left or right. Their eyes are fixed on the target, and their steps are guided by a quiet, unshakable resolve. This is not to say that trials will vanish. On the contrary, a definite purpose will invite resistance, because anything worth having must be earned. But the purpose will give you the strength to endure, to stand alone if you must, and to rise each time you fall. It will draw strength from your silence, for when you speak too much of your plans, you dilute their power. Keep them sacred. Let your results speak. Let your discipline build in private. And above all, never surrender that clarity of aim, for once the purpose is lost, the power is lost. The world will attempt to distract you with its noise, but you must keep your attention inward, locked on the vision that stirs your soul. All success begins with this decision: The decision to focus your life on something greater than the moment, something worthy of the struggle, something that sets your spirit ablaze with unrelenting determination. There is a quiet force within every man and woman who achieves true power. It is not always the loudest voice that commands the room, nor the most visible figure that shapes destiny. Often it is the one who speaks little, who acts without announcement, and who moves in silence that holds the greatest influence. When you choose to focus on yourself, you begin to understand the necessity of silence. Not the silence of weakness or fear, but the silence of control, of mastery, of internal certainty. The silence of one who has no need to explain because their purpose is rooted so deeply it does not require validation. The world we live in teaches us to speak before we act, to share every goal before we begin the journey, and to seek approval every turn. But those who know the laws of power do the opposite. They speak little and listen more. They understand that silence shields the dream while it is still fragile. It keeps the flame from being extinguished by winds of doubt and discouragement. When you remain silent, you guard your energy. Words have power. And when you speak too soon or too often, you leak energy that should have been used for action. Speaking of your plans before they are strong enough to stand on their own makes you vulnerable to opinions that can weaken your resolve. Every time you share your vision with those who do not see it, you risk planting seeds of doubt in your own mind. The mind absorbs everything, support or criticism, and if you are not firmly grounded in your purpose, those words can derail your focus. Silence, then, is not a retreat. It is a strategic move. It is the decision to protect your mission from noise, from distraction, and from unnecessary interference. It is choosing to work while others talk, to build while others boast, and to grow quietly in strength until your results cannot be ignored. The man who speaks little and achieves much is always more respected than the one who speaks loudly but delivers little. There is a dignity in silence that the noisy can never understand. It allows you to observe, to study, and to prepare. It gives you space to hear your own thoughts without the clutter of outside voices. It builds inner discipline because it takes restraint not to announce every step, not to seek credit at every stage, and not to crave applause before the work is complete. And with every day you remain silent and focused, you gain power. You gather momentum. You become less concerned with being seen and more committed to becoming capable. The transformation happens away from the spotlight. The strength is forged in quiet hours. The victories are earned long before the world notices. And when the time comes to reveal what you've built, you will not need to say a word, because the results will speak with a voice louder than anything you could have said. There is no conquest more vital than the conquest of self. It is the invisible battle that every man and woman must fight, often alone in the silence of the mind and the stillness of choice. The individual who learns to master his own thoughts, emotions, and actions holds the key to every form of success. The world outside may present obstacles, critics, and distractions, but none of these can defeat a person who has disciplined the inner world. You cannot control everything that happens around you, but you can control how you respond. And in that response lies your freedom or your failure. Most people are slaves to their impulses, driven by habit, emotion, or the opinions of others. They react instead of act. They drift instead of direct. But the one who has trained himself to pause, to think, and to choose with intention becomes unstoppable. He no longer acts out of fear or anger, but out of purpose. He does not waste time explaining his behavior because it is rooted in clarity and not in chaos. The mastery of self begins with awareness. You must observe your patterns without excuse, your weaknesses without denial, and your habits without justification. You must become brutally honest with yourself, not for the sake of criticism, but for the sake of transformation. Only when you see clearly can you begin to improve. And improvement demands effort. It demands sacrifice. It requires that you say no to comfort when comfort becomes the enemy of growth. It demands that you rise earlier, stay later, and move forward even when your feelings try to hold you back. Feelings will lie to you. They will tell you that it's okay to quit, that you've done enough, that someone else is responsible. But reason will remind you of your standard. And self-mastery is choosing reason over emotion, vision over excuse, and discipline over indulgence. You must also understand that the mind is not automatically your ally. It must be trained like a wild horse, brought under control and directed toward your goal. If you do not instruct it, it will wander. If you do not command it, it will obey fear. You must feed it with what you want it to become. Thoughts of strength, of faith, of victory. You must act as the guardian of your mental space, allowing only what serves your purpose to enter. And this mastery must extend to your words and your actions. Say only what aligns with your values. Do only what builds your future. Move with integrity whether anyone is watching or not. Each choice is a brick in the structure of your character. And character, more than any tactic or strategy, determines where you will go and what you will keep when you get there. Until you rule yourself, you will always be ruled by something else, a mood, a distraction, a weakness, or a person who is more disciplined than you are. Every thought you repeat to yourself becomes a thread woven into the fabric of your reality. The mind does not distinguish between truth and repetition. It simply accepts what is planted with persistence and nourished with emotion. The thoughts you dwell upon, the words you say to yourself in silence or in whispers, become instructions to your subconscious. That part of the mind, though invisible and silent, governs your habits, your confidence, your fears, and ultimately your results. It listens always, and it obeys what it hears the most. If you say you are weak, it will make you weaker. If you say you are capable, it will summon your strength. The tool that controls this process is autosuggestion, and it is one of the most powerful tools a person can use, for good or for ruin. It is the act of deliberately feeding the mind with the ideas you want it to believe, repeated over and over until they take root and grow. Most people are victims of unconscious suggestion. They repeat the complaints of others, the fears of the news, the doubts of their upbringing, and the limits of their past. Without realizing it, they are hypnotizing themselves into failure. But the one who awakens to the power of conscious autosuggestion takes back control. They decide what thoughts will dominate their internal dialogue. They understand that every phrase carries energy and direction, and that if they do not choose those phrases wisely, someone else will. When you begin to suggest to yourself thoughts of strength, clarity, wealth, purpose, and success, your mind begins to shape itself around those ideas. At first, the words may feel false. The old patterns will resist. But repetition is stronger than resistance. When you persist, the new thoughts gain weight. They become beliefs. And beliefs shape behavior, which shapes outcomes. The mind becomes what it is told, especially when those instructions are accompanied by emotion. It is not enough to merely say the words. You must feel them. You must visualize them. You must speak them with conviction, even if no one else believes you yet. The power lies not in impressing others, but in reprogramming yourself. Autosuggestion turns vague desires into definite intentions. It transforms hope into certainty. It strengthens the will when you are tempted to give up and reminds you of your vision when circumstances appear to contradict it. By using it daily, morning and night, silently and aloud, you align your conscious and subconscious in pursuit of the same aim. And once both levels of your mind are united, the resistance begins to fall away. You begin to see opportunities you once overlooked, take actions you once avoided, and embody traits you once only admired in others. In time, what once felt like imagination becomes reality, not because of magic, but because of consistency. The thoughts repeated with faith and intention are the blueprints of the life you will live. Whether you realize it or not, there is a force that cannot be seen, touched, or measured, yet it shapes every outcome in life. It is the force of belief in what is not yet visible, the unwavering confidence in the reality of things not seen. Every achievement that has ever come into being first existed in the realm of thought, supported by nothing more than faith. This faith is not passive hope or wishful thinking. It is active, living, and bold. It does not require evidence, only conviction. The world will tell you to wait until you see results before you believe. But the truth is, you must believe before the results appear. Faith is the spark that lights the fire when everything around you looks dark. It is the inner vision that sees beyond obstacles, beyond setbacks, beyond time. When you focus on yourself and remain silent, it is faith that keeps your steps steady when no one claps, when no one sees, and when no reward seems near. Faith is the glue that binds persistence to purpose. Without it, the journey becomes too heavy, the delays too discouraging, and the pressure too great. But with it, your strength increases even when progress is invisible. You continue to act not because of what you see, but because of what you know deep within. Every seed you plant beneath the soil requires faith. You do not dig it up every day to see if it is growing. You water it, you protect it, and you trust the process. Life is no different. Your dreams are seeds, and the time between planting and harvest is a test of faith. You must believe in your work when there is no applause. You must believe in your direction when there is no map. You must believe in your power when doubt whispers louder than truth. And you must believe not just once, but over and over, especially in silence, especially when the outer world seems indifferent to your inner fire. The mind responds to faith as it does to fear. Both are instructions. Fear invites retreat, hesitation, and defeat. Faith commands motion, courage, and persistence. The mind, once instructed with faith, begins to work in harmony with your desires. Ideas begin to form, people begin to appear, circumstances begin to shift, not because fate is kind, but because your belief has activated a deeper power within you. And this belief does not wait for permission. It moves forward while others stand still. It takes the first step without knowing where the road ends. Faith in the invisible sharpens your vision while others remain blind. It lifts your spirit when the weight is too heavy for logic to carry. It silences the critic within and amplifies the voice of purpose. It is not an accessory to success, but its foundation. The invisible always comes before the visible, and the one who has faith walks forward with confidence while others remain frozen by the need for certainty. One of the greatest thieves of progress is the need to answer critics. Every moment you spend responding to doubt is a moment stolen from building the life you desire. Critics do not exist to understand you. They exist to project their own limitations onto you. When you begin to focus on yourself, when you make the decision to rise above mediocrity, you will naturally attract the attention of those who remain in it. Some will question you. Some will mock you. Some will try to make you feel small for daring to think big. Their voices will come from outside and sometimes, more dangerously, from within. But you must understand that engaging with criticism is a trap. It invites you into battles that do not need to be fought. It tempts you to explain, to prove, to justify, and in doing so, you hand over your power to those who have not earned the right to influence your direction. The person who is committed to mastery learns early that silence is stronger than reaction. Every time you respond to criticism, you validate it. You make it part of your journey when it should be nothing more than background noise. Let people talk while you work. Let them doubt while you build. Let them misunderstand while you sharpen your mind and strengthen your foundation. Your purpose is not to be understood, it is to be fulfilled. Critics often have no vision of their own, so they attack yours. They are spectators in the arena of life, shouting from the sidelines while you are in the fight. And the one in the fight must not waste breath arguing with those who are too afraid to even enter the ring. They have opinions but no outcomes, noise but no results. You must choose where to place your energy, and your energy belongs to your purpose. Even worse than responding to outside criticism is internalizing it. Many stop themselves before others even have the chance. They replay the voices of the past, the judgments of people who gave them nothing but limitation. You must learn to observe those thoughts without obeying them. Just because a voice is loud does not mean it is true, and just because it sounds familiar does not mean it belongs in your mind. Guard your mind from the need for approval. Withdraw from the game of convincing others. You do not owe anyone an explanation for why you want more, why you are changing, or why you refuse to stay small. What you owe is your full attention to your mission, and that attention must be protected at all costs. Criticism is not fuel unless you choose to let it be. Some use it to ignite their fire. Others use it as an excuse to stop. The choice is always yours. Stay in your lane. Stay with your work. Stay with your belief and let your results speak in a way no argument ever could. The battle of success is won not in moments of inspiration, but in hours of repetition. The individual who learns to control his attention, to place it where it serves his purpose rather than where the world demands it, becomes the master of his time, his mind, and ultimately his destiny. Discipline is not a matter of talent or intelligence. It is a matter of choice. It is the decision to act with intention even when the mood is absent. Distraction is always waiting in every device, every conversation, every tempting escape, and it offers comfort without reward. But discipline offers a different path, a harder one, yet filled with meaning. It asks you to say no to what is easy so you may say yes to what is valuable. The person who chooses discipline over distraction may not be noticed immediately, but over time he becomes undeniable. While others are busy entertaining themselves, he is building. While others scroll, he studies. While others delay, he begins. There is no greatness without the habit of consistency. The mind craves novelty, but success craves repetition. The dream you hold in your mind does not care how you feel on any given day. It only responds to what you do. Distractions often disguise themselves as harmless diversions, but their cost is time, the most valuable currency you will ever possess. Time, once lost, cannot be reclaimed. The person who treats time with respect moves ahead while others are still making excuses. You do not need to be extraordinary to win, but you must be disciplined. You must build the power to sit with discomfort, to endure boredom, and to act without applause. This is where champions are made, in the quiet hours when no one is watching, when the work feels heavy, and when quitting would be easier than continuing. You must create an environment that supports your focus, because willpower alone cannot withstand a flood of noise. Remove what does not serve your purpose. Eliminate what pulls your attention without offering a return. Begin each day with clarity, with a plan, with a commitment to yourself that today will not be wasted. You do not need to do everything at once, but you must do something every day. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about persistence. The one who keeps showing up, who keeps choosing action over distraction, becomes unstoppable over time. Each small task completed in silence builds self-respect. Each promise kept to yourself strengthens your character. And each time you choose your goal over your mood, you become a little stronger, a little clearer, a little more aligned with the person you are becoming. In a world that profits from your distractions, staying disciplined is a form of rebellion. It is the declaration that your life will not be dictated by impulse, noise, or convenience. It is the silent commitment to rise, to grow, and to build something that lasts beyond the moment when a man becomes clear about who he is, what he wants, and where he is going. The world begins to respond in ways that appear almost magical, but there is no magic in it, only law. The law is that the outer world arranges itself to reflect the state of the inner world. When there is confusion within, there will be chaos without. When there is fear inside, there will be hesitation outside. But when there is clarity inside, there is direction, and direction creates momentum. Clarity is not something that appears by accident. It must be created. It is built in silence, in solitude, in stillness, when the noise of the world is removed and the voice within is finally heard. Most people are lost not because the path is hidden, but because they never took the time to define what they truly want. They chase the dreams of others, live by the expectations of others, and measure themselves by standards that do not reflect their true desires. Clarity is power because it brings decision, and decision is the beginning of all achievement. A clear mind does not waste time debating every step. It moves with intention. It says yes when it serves the vision, and no when it does not. It does not apologize for the direction it chooses, nor does it seek approval from those who do not understand the destination. The man who is clear within does not need to explain himself. His actions speak, his discipline speaks, his results speak, but that clarity must come first. Without it, energy is scattered, time is wasted, progress is delayed, and life becomes a cycle of starting and stopping, of drifting and regretting, of wondering why things never align. Things never align because the mind is divided, and a divided mind cannot produce a united result. Clarity brings peace because it removes doubt. When you know where you are going, temporary failure does not shake you. It only strengthens you. Obstacles become part of the path instead of reasons to quit. You stop comparing yourself to others because you are no longer walking their path. You stop needing validation because you know what you are building. This clarity simplifies your life. You focus on fewer things, but you do them with greater purpose. You attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right timing, not because of luck, but because your inner signal is finally strong and consistent. People can sense when a person is clear. It commands respect. It commands attention. It does not need to force anything because alignment creates flow.